So this quick video, I want to showcase to you how I use AI to quickly get a credibility assessment just based on 2 transcripts that are available online. I'm going to show you how the process of me uploading transcripts and then queries, just so that you have a better idea of the power of this incredible tool for your practice and frankly for your future. Here I've got excerpts from a case that happens to be in the public record. This is Eugene Carroll, October 14, 2022, and then Donald J. Trump, October 19. I'm not trying to be controversial here. I'm just using transcripts that are in the public record so that if you want to try it yourself, you can do the same. I've got my Claude here. I've got a prompt. I've already pre-programmed the prompt. Okay. And then all I need to do is I can say, so I put the two transcripts in here. And once it's loaded up, here's transcripts. This is Trump Carroll, and then Trump. And then what I'm always simply do is say, please provide a credibility assessment of each. Okay. And just to be clear, these transcripts are excerpts and not the full transcripts. Okay. Full transcripts, you do a different process, but I'm just doing this again, just as an example. Okay. Provided the credibility assessment, you hit enter. And the way that I programmed the prompt and programmed the tool, it'll take a look at both deponents and from the information provided, so from the context, it will then come up with an assessment of these are things to highlight. Okay. Now I want to be clear. I'm not saying that this is going to be 100% accurate because again, nothing you do with AI is going to be 100% accurate. What I'm using this tool for is getting to 95% of the way, right? So here's Trump Carroll. I can say that so I would go here. 1, I'm an observer, just learning. So just learning. It's a sexual assault case. Okay. And no. So no. Then it's already given a preliminary assessment. Okay. Just generate a draft. I will revise. So typically, whenever I get questions they don't want to answer, I'm just saying I'm going to revise it and just generate a draft. Okay. But while it's generating, let's look at what the preliminary thing was. It talked about an assessment, moderate strong, key strengths, key vulnerabilities. And again, this is all because I've pre-programmed the prompt. Then key weaknesses, critical inconsistencies. So it's given some credibility issues that you as either the lawyer for Trump or the lawyer for Carroll can try and figure out how to use it. Okay. And then request for directions. So now it's still learning, still thinking, right? So the only thing that with these more advanced prompts is going to take a little bit more time to sort of like generate the output, right? It's not going to instantly create the content. But what you're going to find is that when it does generate it, it's going to get you to 80 to 90% of the way there, which you are obviously going to be checking up on. And again, I'm right now at 3:30-ish minutes. This is done in real time. When it goes on, you'll see like a little timer here. And again, when you're using AI, you have to be mindful that it is going to make mistakes. So you're approaching this, that it is going to be making mistakes. You're approaching it so that it's going to be something that you're going to improve on. But that's really combine the best of both of your worlds. You combine the best of both your skills as a lawyer, namely to review stuff, to create strategy. And then the strength of AI is recognizing patterns and getting to information really quickly, right? What I'm really big about with using AI for is using it as a means of combating what I call writer's block, right? It's always hard to start. Once I started, I'm quick at writing, but starting is always the most challenging, at least in my experience. And what AI does, it gets me starting, and then I can then start editing and start reviewing and start clarifying, right? That's the way that I've typically saved like 10 to 15 hours a week, just because I'm using AI as a first draft, right? So typically if I'm reviewing a transcript, I'd assume it's probably at least a minute and a half per page. So in a 100-page transcript, that's approximately an hour and a half, if not two. With using this tool, and that's not including coming up to it with the credibility assessment. Using this tool, I'm getting, what you'll see is, especially when you look at what's been provided up here, it's given some things to be talked about, critical inconsistencies, key weaknesses. It's talked about different pieces of evidence. I can use this tool to cut my minute and a half to maybe 20, 30 seconds, but I'm not looking at pages that aren't relevant, right? So that's really where the sort of value is, right? Now, we're about 4 or 5 minutes in and still not generated. That's not because the AI has broken, right? So typically what I do if I wasn't recording videos, I would set this task up, let it run, and I'd be doing some other work, right? So I'll be like multitasking. And so that's really where I think the future of AI is going to go. It's going to go into a place where you are using AI agents to do stuff that we would typically do. But we are focusing on mindset on to do something else. So think of it like delegating to an assistant, right? If you delegate to an assistant, you're not doing the assistant's work. You're just giving the assistant a task and they're moving forward with it. Same thing with AI, right? So think of AI as the assistant. If you get stuff from the assistant, you're still responsible for reviewing and clarifying, right? And hopefully if you've got a good assistant and you've given good instructions, the time you're reviewing is going to be spent, you spend a lot less. And so that's really where the value is, right? Now, when it comes to analysis, keep in mind that is typically something that we would delegate to lawyers and legal professionals. So again, you've got to be really mindful that when it comes to this approach and to this sort of work, you cannot be delegating it to, you cannot be just trusting it completely, right? So I would never take this and assuming it's definitive, right? I would take this and I would review it and make sure that if it says that the witness said the sky is blue and it gives a page number and a reference, I would make sure that I would actually go into that page number, page reference, just to make sure that it's actually right. Now, the other thing that you've got to think about is that I'm using Claude versus ChatGPT versus Gemini. I have tended to find that the output in Claude is more valuable to me as a lawyer than a tool like ChatGPT or Gemini. Claude tends to have better analysis capabilities. It tends to know when to hedge its bets and not to make really definitive statements. So I really like that about Claude. Whereas I think ChatGPT, too often it tries to please the user. I mean, Claude does it too, but even if you program a prompt to do something, it's going to take a little bit more time to, it still has a tendency anyway to actually bring out the output you want. So it's still going, which is, frankly, I am a little surprised that it is taking this long. But maybe if I don't want to stop it, but I'm half thinking I should, because usually it does not take this long. Usually and maybe it's the nature of the case. You know what? I'm going to stop it and see what happens. Hopefully it actually builds out. It does not. That sucks. Let me see if this works. If I refresh it, maybe it'll show up. Hopefully it works. No, it does not. Oh, there we go. It actually did work. So I just refreshed it and there you go. So if you look at, wow, it's gotten new. So here's the content credibility. So now it's got an executive summary on section 1. It's got your credibility, strengths, weaknesses, strengths. So this is really, really, really solid, right? So hopefully that's given you a better understanding of how to use it and the power of AI when it comes to saving you time. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.